Age of Empires Definitive Edition released 1 month ago today, but most of you probably didn't know that, and some of you might not even know what the game is. So let's tackle the latter part of that first. What is the Age of Empires Definitive Edition? Well, in a nutshell, it's a remake of the original Age of Empires from 1997, and it bundles in the Rise of Rome expansion from 1998. Unlike the Age of Empires 2 HD edition on Steam, this has received a complete overhaul of the artwork, not just upresing the assets, but remaking them for 4K resolutions, and they look absolutely beautiful. I'd actually argue that this looks better than even Age of Empires 3. A new orchestral soundtrack is also being created, and original sounds have also been remastered. Now, I'd never played the original Age of Empires, it was a little bit before my time, but this has allowed me to go into the game totally fresh, free from any nostalgic bias. The first thing I noticed is the extreme similarities to Age of Empires 2. You've got 10 historical campaigns, each with around 4 missions, and they're all narrated at the beginning of each mission. I played the Ave Caesar campaign from start to finish in one sitting, and it was really enjoyable and impressive how even the lesser known stories about Caesar made it into the game. Now, one map in particular was really cool, the Battle of Alesia, where you're stuck between 2 fortifications and attacked on both sides. One drawback is that the population limit in the campaign is just 50, which in a way is cool as there's a lot of importance on each unit, but it makes for much slower and smaller skirmishes. On the custom game front, fans of Age of Empires 2 will be greeted with a very familiar screen. You can play a game with 7 other AI, or online with up to 8 players, and there are 16 factions to choose from. Some standout cultures for me are the Egyptians, the Greeks, Romans, Carthaginians, and the Chinese. There's a lot of variety and large and expansive tech trees to master. The population limit also goes up to 250 in custom games, giving you a larger and more familiar Age of Empires experience. So in the game itself, it plays just how Age of Empires always has. You start with a group of villagers, you gather some food, wood, gold, and stone, and build up your civilization through the ages, unlocking new technologies and units to use. Again, for me as an Age of Empires 2 fan, it felt quite similar, but things were just moved around a bit. There were no mines, woodcutters, and mills. Instead, there's a more universal storage depot and a granary, and these buildings have a ton of unlocks for all sorts of things. Like the granary could actually have an upgrade to shield strength. It doesn't really make much sense thematically, but it basically all plays the same. It was quite refreshing for me to be able to play as the Romans and the Greeks in contrast to the medieval units of Age 2, but here's the biggest drawback of the game. It still feels really sluggish and old to move your troops around. Honestly, my only real complaint is that the unit collision and pathfinding is super rigid and unforgiving. Playing Age 1 makes me see how much of an improvement Age 2 delivered. I wish Microsoft would have spent just a little bit of extra cash importing over the Age 2 movement and mechanics. Obviously, this would be a big change to the game and disrupt the legacy of a remake, but you can switch the game mode between the Definitive Edition and the Classic mode already whenever you want, so I feel if the option was there, it would be fine. So I want to step back just for a second to why nobody is talking about this game right now, or playing it, and that's probably because it's on the Microsoft Windows 10 store. It's not on Steam, and it's not going to be on Steam. So I bit the bullet and I thought I would just give in and see how Microsoft systems work, and for the most part I'm actually quite impressed with how easy it is. To buy the game, you just type store into your search the game, and purchase it. It's pretty simple. To play the game, you just type Age, and the first result is the game, and it instantly launches. The window is then very flexible. You can move it around and resize it, and the game will accommodate that. So I was really impressed with the technical fidelity and the ease of access to getting into the game. It's actually kind of cool that I didn't need to run Steam or run something to run the game. Now, the annoying part is that the game has a pretty strict DRM. You need to be online to play it, and you need an Xbox account. Now, I've never owned an Xbox, I don't ever want to, but there's an Xbox app built into Windows 10, and creating a free account on there allows you to earn achievements and play the game. Now, I honestly don't mind the Xbox account thing. I mean, it doesn't really factor in, because once you make your account, you'll never need to open that Xbox app again. You can restart your PC and just go into Age of Empires without loading anything, which is great. But what does annoy me is the DRM that requires you to be always online. Now, I disconnected my internet and the game wouldn't let me play it, and that sucks pretty hard, as my internet is prone to going off every now and then, and I know a lot of people have unreliable connections, or maybe just want to play on a laptop on their commute to and from work, or on a plane, or something like that. You just can't. You need to be online. Further to that, the game files are all locked with some weird permissions thing. Now, I'm sure you can bypass it, but I couldn't in the first 10 minutes when I was trying to, and I just gave up. I was trying to listen to the soundtrack, and you can see the files there, but they're all kind of locked. So I doubt modding is really a thing for this game if people wanted to try that, which doesn't have me hopeful for how Age of Empires 4 is going to play out if it goes down the same route. So that's it for a really quick video about Age of Empires Definitive Edition. I just wanted to let people know that the game is there on the Windows Store and it is pretty cheap. I mean, it was £15 and I think that's like $20 or €20, so it's not really a big investment to get 40 campaign missions and some pretty fun skirmish matches, and you can also play online with friends, of course. If you're an old school player of the original, I bet the nostalgia factor would feel pretty nice to jump into as well. So that's it for the video. Thank you very much for watching. I'm working on a couple of reviews right now for similar style games that are coming out very soon, so make sure you subscribe if you want more info on strategy games like these. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.